It's mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God.
So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time to go to the show. I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about that?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Whoa.
Whoa.
Hello.
There he
Welcome
is.
back to Mic'd Up. Today is Monday, February 26th. We have a huge show for you. The show got bigger as we started talking off air.
Not
about
big in the sense of like gaining weight.
just big in the sense of colossal.
Colossal.
And we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, Friday, they had a monumental legal decision made that impacts all of college sports. We're going to get into that. We're not going to have Jay Johnson on today because they are traveling to Houston for their 4-game series this weekend, which is crazy because that's 3 weekends in a row. They start the season with a 4-game series. Also against, or I guess it's a 4-game series without playing the same team consecutively, right? Which is also a little bit unique.
The old round robin.
Yeah, well, 3 in a row is pretty tough. We're going to get into that. It's a little bit unique. I've never seen that before. We're going to talk about maybe the impacts that it made and why Jay may have decided to do that and play this many games this early on. I think, no, obviously there's no midweek games in these first 3 weekends. Or no, they didn't have a midweek game last week either. Nope. So that kind of takes away from it. It's the same amount of games, just a different order. LSU women's basketball gets back, continues to stay in the winning ways with a 75-69 road win against Tennessee. Jayden Daniels announced that he is not – the score's wrong on there. That's why I was like, I think that's wrong. They didn't win by 15, did they?
Yeah, I think it was 75-60.
75-60. I misread it.
So scores right.
75-60.
Scores right. I was wrong.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I was wrong.
The old copy and paste doesn't fail too often.
The close game was the one before the one they just played. Women's basketball.
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
the
that was
Tennessee game, there's a couple, it got cold there for a second.
Yeah, no
where
doubt,
it's
no
tough to
doubt.
watch.
Jayden Daniels announced that he's not going to perform at the Combine, which I think we all figured he would do. There's no reason for him to do. He's going to take interviews. He's going to be there, but he's not going to perform on the field. That will be at the pro day here.
Still want to see him run.
Malik Neighbors going to – I don't think you need to see him run. You see enough on tape to know how he can run and what he's going to – it don't matter what the time says on the turf when you're on the 40. All that matters is the people chasing him can't catch him.
4'4" guy.
Here's the real question. If he were to go to the Combine, what would he actually gain by performing?
Bill Pulley would want to put him at running back.
Wide receiver, cornerback, maybe, yeah.
There's nothing for him
You're
to
too fast to play
Yeah,
quarterback.
there's nothing
for him
for
to gain.
nothing for him to benefit. He's going to throw a pro day. He's going to throw the receivers that he's used to throwing to, which I think is part of the reason why I did it. Malik Neighbors is going to follow suit. Not going to perform at the Combine. Going to perform at pro day. Makes sense.
It's going to be a circus.
No doubt. But both of those guys, nothing more to prove. Obviously, Neighbors could run and show his speed. He's going to do that at pro day. He's going to do it around the people he's most comfortable with. No problem with that. LSU softball remains undefeated. I think they're up to number 3 in the country. And then LSU baseball finishes out the weekend 3-1. I know a lot of people were pressing the panic button. Surprise, surprise. After the Stony Brook game on Friday, 5-2. Listen, they did not play terrible. They didn't play great, but it wasn't like they booed the ball around. It wasn't like they gave up a million hits. It was a very, very windy day. It was a game where if you're not going to be able to – they hit probably 4 or 5 balls on the nose. Balls that either should be hit into the other stadium, a.k.a. Bear Jones, that was not, which we're going to get into because I think some of the numbers of how hard he hit this ball is going to shock some people because, it looks just like a fly ball. You look at his reaction at first base after they caught it. He was as shocked as anybody. How does this ball not go
I thought that ball was
off
supposed
his
to,
face?
I thought that ball was supposed to land where the CBS truck usually parks at like 2:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah, which is
during
right
the
by
fall.
Sports Admin Building.
Yeah. I thought that's where it was going to land.
Over
but
Nicholson.
The wind had other ideas.
Yeah, and so we're going to get into that. Not pressing the panic button. They followed that with 2 wins on Saturday and Sunday. They are 7-1 for the season. It is baseball. You are not going to go 56-0. That's just part of it.
Damn!
They have another tough test this weekend.
Send them home.
Rice on Thursday.
For
Texas, who's ranked 15th in the country on Friday. UL Lafayette on Saturday, and then Texas State on Sunday. So we play 4 different teams in a round robin in Houston. So they're going to have another test, and then they're going to come back home and start ramping up for SEC play. But before we get into the baseball conversation, it is Monday. I'm wearing my G-Team. I always do it backwards. My G-Team shirt. We normally have Ramsey Barfield, representative of the G-Team. Today we have a pinch hitter. Ramsey, I think, is playing hooky. Maybe he got a little nervous. He didn't have a player, so the attention was all going to be on him today.
Smacked him with that last question
You
last
did.
time. He was
You
like,
did.
You know what?
He didn't
No more
really
of
know.
that.
He was nervous. He doesn't have an athlete next to him to kind of pawn these questions off. So we bring in the pinch hitter off the bench, the Matt Stairs, so to say.
Oh.
You like that? Guys, you
love
come off
that.
the bench and go swing for the fences, hit the homer.
Moneyball.
So I'm excited to welcome the debut.
That's right.
Of Jeff Watson, part of the G-Team. Big part of the NIL process of the G-Team. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having
I appreciate having you.
Absolutely.
Before we really get into the nuts and bolts of this conversation, right? We had Milazzo on last week.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all had just recently signed Alex Milazzo. Do y'all have anybody else that is going to be rostered on the lineup
Big bullets are in
for
the chamber.
for the
We got
G-Team?
'em. Yes, they're coming.
They're coming.
We're talking to 4 or 5 guys right now and get them signed up and lined up. And so you'll see probably see one tomorrow.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Little
Position?
tease.
There you go.
Little tease. Little tease. You can't do position. That just narrows it down. You know what I mean? You got to leave some people guessing.
That's right.
Were you at the games this weekend?
I went to the game on Friday. I watched all of them, but I went to the game on
So
Friday.
you're the reason
Stony
they
Brook.
lost. You're the reason they lost. You're the bad luck.
Yeah.
You're the bad luck.
Don't let Mikey pawn this off on you. He's Mr. Mush.
Actually, I will say this. I've been to 2 LSU men's basketball games this year.
Lost.
Both games I lost by 20 points. So I will not go to another one. I was at the one this weekend against Mississippi State. Wasn't great. And I was at the Alabama home game. Wasn't great.
And you're at the LSU baseball game.
And I was at the LSU baseball game.
So, in other words,
I may be the bad luck.
stadium.
I may be the bad luck. I think I probably shouldn't show up to these games anymore. But you were there. As a baseball fan, as a fan of LSU, what did you see? What did you like? What didn't you like? And are you one of the ones pressing the panic button because they lost to Stony Brook?
No, I've followed baseball for a long time and know that, when people, the midweek games back in the day and everybody would lose their mind,
Back in the day, Coach, they lose their mind.
Yeah,
Still
no,
now.
yeah.
Jay Johnson had a for sale sign in his
Listen,
yard last year.
Yeah.
And so, no, I don't follow that at all.
You told us a crazy stat.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into this later throughout the show, but I want you to bring it up. So
Yeah, because I think Jared has a good perspective on it.
Yeah.
Both of y'all.
So Jared Jones,
Yeah.
big dude, obviously, powerful guy, hits a lot of homers.
Might know when he's going to hit one.
Obviously he knows when he can feel it on deck when he's about to hit one, which he proved to you this past weekend. After this one did not go out, but against Stony Brook, he hits a ball deep left center field. And both center fielder and left fielder jump up for it at the same time. It looked like they simultaneously caught it. It's like one caught it and the other one caught the other's glove, right? Out. So Jared Jones on first base, hands on his head. How the hell did that not go out? You've been there. I've been there. Damn, I hit this ball as good as I'm going to hit this ball.
Flush.
As a fan and as being in the stands, you don't really know because you don't feel it off the bat. There's no exit velo coming off of the scoreboard. And so the only thing you can go by is the reaction of the player, and then hopefully you have some access because LSU baseball is not going to post exit velos on outs. At least they haven't.
They don't really post them on singles either. So.
Right. Just homers,
Yeah,
doubles,
yeah,
something like that, right? Big plays, big moments. But you were able to get access to what that exit velocity was off of that fly ball out. Can you share with the crowd what that was?
Yeah, and the guys I was with and their response and their reaction to the ball not going out, because I told you Gavin Dugas and Jayden were there, Patrick Coogan, and I was there with Brian Bennett. And
All baseball players.
All baseball players.
Yep.
And when that ball didn't go out, they were all like, we got to figure this out. Like, what just happened? And Patrick has access to the track man, and I think he went down there. And then he came back, and it was 116 miles an hour.
116 miles an hour. That may be the hardest ball hit all year.
All year. That's
an out, not a homer. And look, sometimes when you get a ball that's an out, that's a hit 116 miles an hour, maybe like on the ground. You know what I mean? Like
with the exit, with the quote unquote launch angle that it had as well.
Yeah, and you don't usually get the ball that's in the air at 116 that doesn't go over the fence.
Yeah, there's an element of young pitchers and or college pitchers, more so college pitchers, but it takes pitchers a while to understand when you have elements like that, play to the elements, literally live on that side of the plate, and if you get beat, make people beat you on that side of the plate. Now, I'm not saying that that's what they did or that's what they were able to do, but it usually takes guys a long time to understand, like, there is an element of baseball. It doesn't really matter how good you are, how hard you hit it. There's some element of, hey, you got to know the elements of what's going on, and that's kind of turns into golf a little bit, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, let me try to flop this thing when I know it's absolutely hissing one way. And I'm going to have to kind of keep this low and drive through it a little bit. Like, there's some of that kind of goes on, and as a hitter at the plate, we can sit here and teach low line drives all day, but let's be honest, like, we're not going to sit there and do that all day. You're going to hit some ground balls. You're going to roll over some balls. You're going to get under some balls, right? And if you're hitting under balls into the elements that was Friday, whether it's not you like try to do it or not, it's going to be hard to get it where you want. I'm not saying that Jared Jones hit under. It came off the bat at 116.
Right.
But where it went off the bat, it's tough to get
That's
it out
just
of
for
the
the
ballpark.
Sunday game.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, and like to compare the two, the one that he actually hit out of the ballpark was 110 off the bat with the non-180 40. I don't care, that kick can fly. But you have a 110 ball that goes out absolutely out the ballpark, and then you have 116 off the bat that gets cut at the wall.
To be honest too, I think that ball would have, if there's nobody standing out there, I think it short hops the wall. Like, I don't think it would have hit the wall in the air. Those two guys jumped for it and made the play. I think it short hops the wall.
It was coming straight down.
Yeah, it was coming
It
straight
wasn't
down.
going over the fence.
It's almost like it came backwards.
Which is
too
wild.
Too much backspin.
Which is wild.
No, not too much backspin. You don't hit one. You can't balloon a ball at 116. That ball was hit flush. Just too high.
What do you mean?
What do you mean
Too high.
Too high.
That ball
Definitely-
got small.
Definitely not too high, just too
You have
much
to
into the
shit it
wind.
out.
Which I think is wild, which, obviously we talked a little bit about that. As a hitter, you know when you got all of something. And you know when the ball's over the fence, or should be over the fence. And his reaction to that says everything.
It's a bad feeling, too, when you know where the wind is and what's going on, and then you hit a ball like that. And your immediate feeling is, oh, my God, I crushed that. And you're kind of watching and and you just kind of start getting that doubt starts creeping in because you see them, they're not slowing down. They're kind of camping under, and you're like, ain't no way. There's no way. And when it does happen, it's a really bad feeling. You don't want to go back up to the plate the next time because you're like, well, what do I have to do now?
Right.
Like, where do you want me to hit it?
Yeah, you can't. You just and look, that's the other thing, right? As a hitter, you see the wind, and everybody's like, well, just don't hit it into the wind. Well, one, it's not that easy. Promise you that. It's not that easy. And two, if your game is not something, you don't want to change the way you swing the bat because if you do that, you're not going to be the same type of player, right? Like you don't want to say, oh, I'm just going to try to hit the ball.
Let me feather one out there.
Yeah, it doesn't really work that way.
Fairway
and so
finder.
you tell the guy, hey, listen to me. Maybe you be a little more conscious of trying to get on top of it, not hit the ball in the air as much. But even then you say, you know what? Go out there, be aggressive, try to drive this ball up the middle and see what happens. Yeah. You can't change your swing. And so I'm not a big fan of, do you want Jared Jones to say, I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to try to poke a single to right field? What's that going to do?
Or let me hit this top spin absolute worm burner over here down the third baseline too.
Yeah,
I'd rather. About 50
I guarantee you. Here's the thing. No. Because what's going to happen is
No, he's going to hit it so hard.
No. What's going to happen is when you change the swing to hit that worm burner that does work. Guess what? The next 2 weeks, swing's gone.
No doubt.
Cooked. See you.
No
later.
doubt. And here's the deal. He doesn't hit that ball with an exit in the launch angle of that. Maybe it's a line drive at 116. It's a home run. It's going to cut the wind, right? So
That's where you got the Bingham home run.
the Bingham home run, right? You cut the wind. So
Who
it's
called that? Not me.
You did call it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pick the click for you. My prediction was wrong. I'm glad we couldn't bet on the props. But since we have you here, right? Obviously, the G team is all about the NIL. People would associate outside of the personal injury attorney thing, which is actually what y'all do, right?
Exactly.
They associate
Real job.
the G team. That's your job. Yeah.
That's my real job.
Yeah.
Like Bruce
They
Wayne.
Yeah, right. Right. They associate the G team with the NIL, right? I think y'all have done a really good job. Actually, I know that y'all have done a really good job supporting the local athletes here, supporting the LSU athletes, and putting them in a situation to benefit off of name, image, and likeness. A lot of things have changed through the course of the last 2 years since name, image, and likeness became legal. And I think the biggest domino to fall happened last Friday, right? And I know a lot of people have been talking about it. Some people are calling it the beginning of the end of the NCAA. And for those of you who don't really know, or maybe know but don't really understand it, Jeff has a very, very good explanation as to what it means and what it actually, what the inducement conversation may lead to. And on Friday, Tennessee, Virginia, and Texas, right? Those are the three states that were in this.
Filing a preliminary injunction against the NCAA to stop enforcing a rule.
Right, and that rule is inducement, right? And if you don't know what inducement means, it's I'm trying to ask you to do something by giving you something that entices you to do it, right? Incentivizes you to do something that we want you to do, right? So if I were, and we're going to get into this, I'm going to give an example. Like if I were not an athlete and I was to go and sign get a new job, and I was pretty good at what I was doing, and they wanted me, this company could hire me and say, hey, this is the contract that we are offering you, and within this contract, here's a $150,000 signing bonus that we want to give to you just for coming over to work with us. That is the definition of inducement. That is not legal in college sports. Can you please give us more
details into that.
Because
we got bugs everywhere.
Yeah. And that's because the NCAA.
Just like the NCAA.
Yeah, I see the mosquito hawks.
Yep.
Trying to enforce that rule on players and boosters. And so a federal judge in Tennessee granted a preliminary injunction, which will lead next to a permanent injunction. He went ahead and ruled and said that it was unconstitutional for NCAA to enforce this on kids, on boosters, whether they are in their recruiting process or if they're in the transfer portal and have not committed to anyone yet.
So if I'm in the transfer portal and I'm looking to see, okay, where do I want to go to school? And I say, okay, I'm going to go on these visits. I can come on this visit to LSU, and I can have a conversation with, does it have to be a booster? Can it be with the school? Can the school put you in touch in front of the booster? How does that work?
The boosters are the ones that are.
So the school can't direct you that way?
Yeah, I think the boosters is where the money is.
Okay. So then I'm on this visit, and I go to this booster, and they says, hey, we want you to come here. If you come here, I can give you $175,000.
Yeah.
That's legal now.
It is now legal.
You know what? You know how that's really going to happen too? That's going to happen. Schools are so like it came out that Arch Manning, Texas, spent a ton of money just to have him on campus and during his visit. You realize like those monies are going to be thrown at guys before they even show up there. Now they're going to be like, look, hey, you come here for this visit, we'll give you this much, and if you commit, there'll be this much on it on that side as well, and kind of keep going with it. They'll keep doing that just to kind of entice guys to even come, and if they're not going to come, all right, no big deal. Why have you here and spend the money that we have with you here if you're not even really looking at coming here anyway?
Right.
So, like, they're going to start using it. It's going to get wild. What it was is, like he said, like teams were having – there was probably some of this stuff going on under the table. It's no longer under the table. It's over the table. So now you've leveled that playing field. Well, the teams that were behind, they're not going to try to have to do more just to get back on top or into the level playing field. So it's going to turn
run out of money. And your 4 stars – the second level guys, not your big 5. That's all, you know.
Yep.
It's changing on filling out your roster with 4 stars and getting those transfers that were 2 stars that are now blowing up somewhere. And just so legally you have a background of it, the judge specifically stated in there that he believes it violates federal antitrust laws and it harms the kids. That's a standard that you got to meet in order to make that ruling.
Harms the kids how?
You're preventing them from making
their fair market value.
Period. Yeah. You could get that $150,000, and no one is saying that you can't go get that $150,000. Well, if we made a rule and said, you know what, in the financial industry or whatever world, you can't do that anymore. Well, that's harming you because now they're taking that money away from you. So the judge had to find reasons as to why he was ruling the way he did, and he said it's antitrust laws and the harm. And when you have those two, he granted the preliminary, which isn't a final ruling, but it sure does shows the way as to where he's probably going to go once you have a full trial on the junction. It's on the permanent injunction.
Because you would imagine that they're going to appeal, right? Like the NCAA doesn't have much left to stand on, so they're going to have to appeal this ruling just because of the merits of it all.
And the word is that his
there's no reason to appeal. Yeah.
Well, one of the comments that was made was this would not be allowed in any other employer-employee.
And this as being you can induce
in anything.
Inducement is legal in everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. So why is it
not legal here?
That's right.
And as much as we've kind of had the conversation, for people who watch the show, I think it's easy. You could sit here and say that as a show, we don't necessarily agree with NIL, but you can't disagree with this, right? Like, there's no way you could say, like, that's a bad ruling. It kind of is true. Right. But that's the toothpaste out of the tube dilemma you've already created by having the thing go the way it's gone.
And to clarify, it's not that we're against NIL. We're against the way it's structured.
That's my point, obviously. Like, I want kids to make their money, too.
Like,
the way you structured it was already bad.
Right.
This isn't bad, but
this makes sense. It's just going to make it
right?
a lot harder to monitor.
Put the genie back in the bottle.
It's going to make it a lot harder for them to control it. It was already hard enough for them to control it. Now it's going to be, hey, even more Wild West.
In your eyes, is there a route? Is there a way to actually control this and get it back somewhere?
We kind of talked about this before about the employer-employee relationship makes it so hard because you want to make rules and you want to think that they're good, but if they violate regular employer-employee rules, I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if it's union issues. I don't know that issue, but these are all things that have, since it became, legal, these are all issues.
Right.
And when you read some of the articles, they got some really good stuff about, from the player's perspective, you're limiting the information he has when he's deciding where he wants to go play football. Because you're not allowing him to know, well, what are my NIL opportunities over there?
Who gets to cut?
I just have to rely on these promises.
Right.
And then the kids get there and the promises fail. Well, the kid's already signed his letter of intent. He's stuck at a school. And you say, well, they can let him out of his letter of intent. Well, if you let him out of his letter of intent, everybody's already signed.
Yeah.
The kid that was going to Florida, where did he end up? Arizona State?
I don't even know now.
Yeah,
Did he end up at Arizona State?
Yeah.
One of the highest recruited quarterbacks in the country gets his release from Florida, but he looks out there and everybody's like, we got our guys already,
Yeah.
And so he ends up at Arizona State. And so that's some of the conversation of you're putting these kids, that's the harm.
Right.
How are you harming these kids? You're hurting their ability to create their livelihood.
Right.
Well, you're operating under a free market society without a free market. Like everybody is in college football, at least at this point, is a free agent at all times. Like it's not a fair or free market for other teams to be able to compete in a sense. Like that's where the problem is that you can leave at any time because of the conjunction of the transfer portal and NIL at the same time.
The issue that I have with the whole thing, is they want to pay to play, which I'm good with. But at the same time, people will compare, it's professional sports. No. It's better than professional sports
for the athlete.
For the athlete. Yeah. Because you have no contractual obligations to your employer,
and you have no
contractual
contractual obligations.
Right.
If you don't like
you have two sides of it. You have no contractual obligations coming in, and on the other side of it, you don't have a true measurement of the playing field that you're actually asked to step up to. So a lot of these kids are coming in and they're throwing this money and that money, and we have no clue who you just made your name against.
No, exactly.
We have no clue who you just made
your name
against.
The level of competition is
so we don't know what we're actually paying for when you get here.
Right.
So that's the two sides of it, where in professional sports, there is not that. There is the law of large numbers. Mm-hmm. There's so much that's going on at these levels. You have a much better idea of what you're getting when you pay for it at that level. Right. This level, it's the Wild Wild West.
Right.
It's literally a Cracker Jack box. Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what you're getting when you pay for that when you're a free agent in the NFL or a free agent.
Got you for 3 years.
Yeah, right. Like coming up. Same thing, even drafting him out of high school, or out of college.
I was about to say, it's the same thing drafting out of college.
Like, you don't know what you're going to
get.
The
law of large numbers said this level, the college level, has been this. We may miss, but we're not going to overpay so crazy to where it doesn't matter.
Right.
That can happen here.
Yeah.
And you can do incentive-based contracts where, okay, rush for 1,000 yards, and then you hit this bonus or this or whatever, and that's pay for play.
But you also know that when you draft them, they are going to be with you for however long their contract or however long you want them, unless you cut them.
Yeah.
Here, you go and they're contractually obligated for not even a year. You come here, I don't like this, I'm in the portal, I'm gone. Right? Which is wild to me. So I like the NIL idea of, hey, give you your worth and pay for it. But I also it's very hard to regulate because there's really no.
Watch the spring portal.
Yeah.
Well,
Jacoby Matthews from A&M's already in there.
Yep.
But he has to sit out if he goes to the SEC. Isn't that the rule?
But does he? Because that's an NCAA rule. Why would you not say that it's against his fair ability to make money?
And that's going to be a whole other thing. Well, no, that's not money. That's just transfer.
Right, but if he's from Louisiana, if he has the fair market right to make more money in Louisiana, what's stopping him aside from an NCAA rule?
Is that his second transfer?
No.
This will be his
but
first?
This is the second window, and so usually by rule.
The NCAA rule.
The NCAA rule. If you put yourself in the portal in the second
in the May thing.
and then you have to sit out. You can't transfer within conference.
I mean,
and
you
not
know
sit
there's
out.
litigation going to be on that. If they took
That's
the
what
two
I'm saying.
transfers, they will.
Exactly.
And they would win.
Exactly.
And there should be.
Yes, you can go work for someone, but you can't go work for those 10 people.
Yeah.
You can't go work for that
I mean,
top
that's a
competitor.
non-compete issue, which in Louisiana, you have to abide by A, B, C, D, and E, or else a non-compete is not valid.
Yeah.
You have to have specific elements in a contract.
Which are not written in, I'd imagine.
to be able to do
these.
that, which, you know, it's exactly.
It's not written into the scholarship offer.
That's right.
I can promise you that.
That letter
Do you
of
think there's a way to actually, I guess, calm down the portal by saying it's not making a non-compete, but making a punch list of things that you can't, or I say a punch list of things that in a court of law could be, I guess, debated, if you will.
If you're limiting someone's ability to make money, and
You'll lose every time.
you lose every time.
Well, obviously,
Yeah,
that's
but I guess what he's
my
asking-
point is, like, if we sit here and we say you go to school, there's 3 quarterbacks on the roster, you leave to say you're going to another school, and you say I'm leaving because I get a chance to make money here. Could we go to court rule and say, hey, by rule of it, that's what you're saying, but we can see that there's 2 quarterbacks in front of you. You ain't playing. That's why you're transferring. We won't give it to you. Like, is there a way to be able to kind of?
I mean, that would be an opinion, really, you know.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I'm throwing something out there.
The guy could say, no, I was going to beat those 2 guys out. I'm not worried about them. I just got $250,000 over here, and I don't have it there. I don't know. There's no good. I think about it all the time.
It'd have to be like
That's what I've been saying for 2 years.
Well, and now
That's
we haven't even talked about what do you do with Florida State, and what do you do with the teams that have gotten in trouble for the inducement.
Now. So here's my other point to that, right?
You just become the example.
Yeah, but here's my other point. Inducement, right?
You're a hero.
They are in trouble for inducement. Now the inducement
is legal.
rule is legal. So are they going to say, okay, now that it's legal, you are fine? Or are you going to say, oh, no, this happened before it was legal?
They didn't do it with
because
Will Wade.
that's where I was getting to.
You can't retroactive.
Because Will Wade got fired because, hey, you did this, and now NIL is a real thing, and now you're gone.
Stamp.
Can't triple stamp a double stamp. You want to hear the most annoying word in the sound in the world? So like that's the conundrum that the NCAA faces. And is there a way, in your opinion, to save the NCAA? Or do you think it's cooked?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think there's a way for them? Because you said before the only way that the NCAA could potentially get saved is if Congress steps in.
And that's what they're going to need. The NCAA, the SEC, the big whatever.
I feel like Congress should be worried about
they're
some
getting
other
so
things.
big that do they need the NCAA?
Well,
that's
that's the argument, right? Like this Big Ten and SEC team up and say, okay,
the
we'll figure
NCAA
this thing out.
become like the national
The party planning committee?
free agent pool, basically. Like NFL is like each NFL, right? Is they got its hood. Free agents are NFL. They're obviously independent contractors, right? But does NCAA become that now? Like, hey, like we know you're eligible to be able to play.
What a wild time for college
sports.
sports.
It's crazy.
Or do they just change what they do? Like they used to govern. Do they now do something else so they can stay relevant?
Run the tournament.
Yeah,
That's what you really have done.
Or
TV rights will be there no matter what.
Or run every other sport except for football.
You can't, but basketball's making crazy money too.
That's their bread maker.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so you can't say that basketball makes crazy money too.
And look at women's college basketball.
Women's college basketball, there is some real high.
Go look at the value of the top 5 NIL players over there and the money.
So but you really can't kick that out of it either. So
and that's a yeah, I'm with you. But to me, that they make their money. Obviously, you get enticed to come to school, right? Like, hey, here's some NIL deals. But they're also getting bigger endorsements off of the field outside of just getting, hey, here's a booster giving you checks.
Yeah.
Right? At least the big money ones that are making all the big money in NIL, like Floje.
Angel and Floje are part of the G team.
Right, but like outside of that.
Outside of that,
you're saying that, but I got to imagine it would only be smart if I am a coach on that roster. And if I'm going to recruit, I'm going to tell this is what you
Oh, no doubt.
So then, like, then you can't say that because the next is going to be coming looking for the same opportunity at that point.
It's
Angel Reese was on the NBA 2K
That's what I'm saying.
commercial.
That's what I'm saying.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
It's awesome for her.
Yeah, it's great for
Floje had a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
For the G team.
She did.
Pretty
she
awesome.
did. How
It was
that?
unbelievable.
she did that so fast. And when I got the first part of it, I was like,
she's already gone.
there's no way you did this fast. I gave her words that she had to use that we wanted, to kind of go through. And I mean, 2 days she came back. That was incredible. Talk to her mom all the time, Kia, who is a great lady.
I mean, that is
Awesome. That's when you were like, okay, that talent's real.
Yes.
That's NIL.
I could never do that.
It was I was blown away.
yeah. No, she's super
And then
talented.
The final product was just
Awesome.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Gordon gives you some good words to work with. Ferrari, Lamborghini.
I mean, she crushed it.
Yeah.
She did.
She crushed it. It was it's a wild time to be in college sports.
I said it was like 3 to 5 years. I think they just elongated that a little bit with this ruling. It's gonna be like 3 to 10 years where you're trying to figure out how on earth do you put this to.
How are they going to rule? How are they going to control any part of it if they just got their 2 transfer rule kicked? Now you get the inducement rule kicked. I mean, you're
gonna have 0 rules left.
yes.
It's the NCAA's fault for building it behind the guise of a made-up word that they invented in amateurism, where, okay, that was everything that they had to stand on was, well, it's under the guise of amateurism, where you get free room and board and books. That's your scholarship. You're an amateur athlete. It's like, why? And then the sport got so popular to the point where it was, we're clearly making money. Where's it going?
And the other side of that is you're an amateur athlete. You get free room and board. But here's my argument to that. Since we were in school, right? Before NIL was a thing, my argument to that was, yeah, you're giving me scholarship, free room and board. I get to come to school. But what about that person that came here for Addistate that had this full academic ride that's also interning at this place making $30,000 a year?
Literally, right? He may be working a full 40
What if he's working a job? What if he's able to do both, and that person's working a job making $30,000, $40,000 a year?
There's no rule against that.
Right? No rule. So yeah,
there used to be.
Not academically.
Not for academics.
No, not academically.
That's my argument.
But I'm saying, no, even like this rule has been, I think it's been probably 10, 15 years, but the NCAA say you couldn't have a job outside of athletics.
That's what I'm getting at.
I know.
That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as an academic scholarship athlete, not playing sports.
Yeah, you could play the pan flute.
You could do whatever you wanted to do to make money out of the classroom. Sports, you could never do that. Right?
Yeah, you couldn't even have a job.
Right. Yeah. That was my argument. One, you didn't have time to do it, and 2, even if you had time, they were not allowed.
I mean, you got the same time in the day that these kids got, right? Like, it's the same situation. They came here for school, they're doing this. You came here for school and ball, and you're doing this. And if you could find time to do something,
right?
Just like they found time to do something and do something more, why were you not able to earn
profit?
But they're able to earn.
Right.
It shouldn't be a thing.
That's the argument. We're not going to find the answer here, but it's a nice conversation.
If Congress can't figure it out,
right?
Well, trying. I mean,
they can pay way more to do this than we.
No doubt, no doubt.
Does this shape the way that y'all look at it differently? Like even today, like have y'all had conversations in regards to NIL?
Esquire.
Well, so it's a preliminary injunction, so it's not actually, it's just
It's the first step of.
It's the first step.
Yeah,
of
but
it.
I imagine
if you could paint this picture,
and of course the NCAA is like, well, we think we're still going to win at trial, and the judge is like, well, I think they got a really good chance of winning. So
when is the trial?
The judge will set it.
Oh, he hadn't said it yet.
No, and so because you have to get through the first part, and then you go
right.
to the permanent injunction. In the meantime, NCAA is trying to figure out a way to get their rules out of antitrust, and that's legal stuff that we would need.
Yeah, we don't have time.
Experts.
Right.
So more time.
That's not your
I just know
expertise.
that's where they're going.
Yeah.
So more time or less time hurts the NCAA. Hurts or helps the NCAA.
Right now, the faster the ruling is, the worse for NCAA, because as the rules sit right now,
slippery slope.
They're going to lose.
Right.
Who, NCAA?
Yes.
Yeah.
But if they can get in there and get Congress to enact some things that then makes what they're doing not as bad. So if they pull the antitrust out of it, and now you're just looking at harm to kids or what other standard, they have a better chance of winning. But if it goes really fast and the rules that are sitting as they are, they're in a bad spot.
And it feels like college football wants it to go as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you got kids that are deciding on scholarship. They're deciding where they want to go.
Yeah.
Can I do this?
College basketball is full swing right now, so it's not really a thing. But like you said, there's another window for these kids to be like, well,
You're
can
in it
I
right
get more
now.
money here?
That's why I'm telling you this if this is all open in the spring transfer portal, the spring transfer portal is usually not a lot going on. The kids that are getting out there know they're going to start wherever they go, so they don't have to beat the rush. But this changes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, this is
No pressure, Gordon.
yeah.
yeah. Oh shit.
This is like signing a week of spring training.
I mean, look, and we've talked about this a lot, or the week after.
Show up the fall
Y'all
camp.
need me?
Show up
2
the
weeks
fall
into
camp.
camp.
I just got my new deal, baby. Ready
2
for
weeks in the
camp.
camp, which is actually happening right now. A lot of people are signing right now.
Willie
Bellinger,
McKay straight
your
out of
boys,
bed.
Your boy, the
80
Cubs.
million.
The Cubs are just dishing out money to a bunch
Hey,
of these
Chris
guys.
Jones before the season for the Chiefs. This is what this turns
is it.
into. Like, how much can I get up to the deadline, baby?
Bet y'all need me.
We've talked about it. They are going to have to create, whether it's the NCAA that turns into this, whether it's a new committee that turns into
That's where they should pivot.
They're gonna create. They're gonna have to create a CBA.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to create a collective bargaining agreement, just like the NFL, and say these are. We're going to negotiate. These are what the university are going to negotiate, and you have bylaws, and you have rules, and you have an actual contract signed by both represented parties. That's the only way.
Nick Saban, insert Greg Sankey.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's the only way you're
And
going to be
Petit.
able to bottle this thing up and create some sort of rule.
Uniformity, yeah.
And that's it. Because you can't. It can't. This is not sustainable.
The thing about it is, here's what's crazy. And this is me being completely honest when I say this. This is all fun and great, and there's no better time to be a college athlete when it comes to making money. But this is so far away from what's real life that they have no clue of what it's like when you actually leave and go into real life. Whether that's you going to professional sports, whether that's you going to a professional job. It doesn't work this way anywhere else. So you're creating this false mindset of what is actually real, and truthfully, outside of just the dollar amount, it doesn't help these kids.
Yeah, and that's one thing to just on the way Gordon handles his NIL stuff and things that he wants to happen every single time is when he meets with those kids and he meets with every single one of them and talks to them, it's an employer-employment contract, okay? And there's deliverables that you have to do. And if you don't do them, you're not getting what you're supposed to get. And so he's trying to implement that and push that on them that you're going to get 1099 when you're done. You got tax implications on here. You have to do these things or else you're not earning your money. And when you go to get a job and you don't earn your money, you don't get your paycheck. And so it becomes hard when
There's no.
But say
There's
that's
all those
everyone
rules.
everyone doesn't operate with that same integrity. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Exactly.
From state to state situation, it just doesn't happen that way.
No, you're exactly right. And what I was going to talk to you one more thing was, we talk about NIL all the time, and we equate it to, a running back's life is like, what, 3 years?
Yeah, something like
It's
that.
something very small.
Yeah. Not life
What-
in general. Lifespan in the NFL.
No, lifespan in NFL, where
Yeah.
they got to get their money, they got to get paid, they got to make it.
Which they don't. They don't let them.
What is the percentage of kids that go to the NFL?
They go
that
professional
are at
in
college.
everything other than
Let's get
sports.
them to college.
That's
which
always
is-
been my biggest thing because it's like, hey, we're doing so much to get some of these kids here. Not we, obviously, like the landscape of how this thing is right now. But we still forget the number of college athletes that go pro. That hasn't changed.
Is it 1%?
It's still the same.
Something like that,
It's still the
1%.
same
Something-
microscopic percent.
So this kid has a 1% chance of making it any further than this college.
Mm-hmm.
So they're protecting themselves and got to get what they can.
1.6%
Yeah,
of
99
college football players make it to the NFL.
So 98.4% are not going to get any money after these 3 or 4 years
From the NFL.
from their sport,
Right.
Yeah, from playing a sport.
from
yeah.
what they've been doing their entire lives and
Right.
preparing for. That's another issue that why these kids are pressing what they're pressing, and they're rightfully so.
No doubt. I don't fault the athletes.
No,
at all.
you can't fault because the system is what it is. You
Yeah, I'll
can't
do the
fault
same
the
thing.
kids at all.
Yeah, I don't fault them at all. It's just one of those things that when it's done.
99% of the rest of you will go pro in something other than sports.
Yes.
That was the old NCAA commercial.
That was, and they
Still
are
a true-
wrong.
It's still a true commercial. Though.
They just,
Been nice to make money during those 4 years.
no doubt. Let's
some of them 9
maximize
years. You just never know.
Well, and here's the deal.
COVID.
I mean, the stats on the transfer portal kids that don't end up at a school.
That's the crazy. That we've
awful.
talked about that too.
I mean, that's another thing pushing this is people don't realize you have thousands of kids,
in the portal that aren't going
Still
to go
there.
anywhere.
and they lose their scholarship.
Right.
So now they've lost their scholarship.
Don't have a place to play.
Now they don't have a place to go. And they're done.
Right. Right. That was another conversation piece that we had when we talked about was the portal. It was like you put yourself in the portal, grass isn't always greener. If somebody, let's say you're in the portal and you are the 5th-rated wide receiver, and all of a sudden something like this happens at A&M and Alabama and all these other schools, now everybody starts putting their names in the portal. Now instead of being the 4th, you're the 24th.
Coach, you could be the first. Look, what if you're the first one that puts it in there and you are the one? And then the thing at Alabama happens and the thing
Right.
at Florida State happens and you go from the 1 to the
12.
9. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Can I come
it's
back?
not the same for me anymore.
Right.
So, it really doesn't matter where you are in this thing.
Right.
That's what's crazy about
Which is
it.
wild. And to me, I think that
So there's
And this is
a
the
whole lot of
last-
kids from Stanford in the portal.
right, and this is the last thing I want to talk about. Obviously, we've kept you a lot longer than we anticipated. Hope you're good. Hope you don't have a meeting after
having
this. The
All
thing that
billable
I-
hours.
The thing that I like that what Gordon does, right, and he's not the only one. I'm sure there's other people around the country that probably structure it not similar, maybe similar, right, in a way. What he's doing is he's allowing these kids, okay, you're going to make money off of your name, image, and likeness, right? You're going to make money because you've earned it and because we feel like you're a good partner, right? Y'all feel like, hey, character-wise,
Personality.
personality-wise, you fit what we're looking for. But we're also going to teach you what the real-world business is like. Right. So this is what we're giving you. In return, this is what we need to get back. And it teaches these athletes
Accountability.
accountability in the world of business.
Yeah.
And I think that's a longer. They're able to benefit from that longer than they would if I'm just gonna give you this. You don't have to do anything. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Here's a handout. And then now all of a sudden, after 4 years down the road, you don't make it to NFL. Where are my handouts?
Yeah.
Where's my gimmies? You don't have that anymore because now you got to go out there and try to earn it. And I think that's the big disconnect. But I think that's
you
a
see
really good thing that the
charities
G team is
get
trying to do.
benefit from it.
Yeah.
Kids start thinking that way. They're, thinking about charities, thinking about doing stuff,
Right.
and it makes them a better person.
Right. It takes that money. Maybe you take that money and create something else with it, or
Exactly.
it allows them to create
Yeah.
money that's going to be made for years to come, not just the first 3 or 4 years that they have in college. Man, this was a great conversation.
good,
Way
man.
better than Ramsey. We're gonna let's have Wally Pip.
Wally
He
Pip.
may have just gotten Wally pipped.
Gotta get him out.
I consider
obviously,
myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
obviously it helps that for this conversation that happened on Friday, it gives us a big talking point. I mean, we haven't even really talked baseball. We almost talked 50 minutes on NIL.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing the newest member of the G team from the baseball side. You said tomorrow. Do we have a time when it's going to drop?
I don't control that.
2 o'clock would be great.
No time.
I just know it's tomorrow.
Yeah,
Alex
sometime.
is probably texting me right now, going, "What are you doing?"
Sometime tomorrow. Y'all are building a roster,
Yes.
a baseball roster that's going to
lineup.
be a baseball lineup.
Yep.
That is going to be constructed to win some games, hit some homers, I would imagine. I don't know who's going to be in that. You haven't told us anybody yet. Outside of Milazzo.
That's right.
He's throwing guys out.
It might be a bear market.
He's throwing out, maybe. Or it
Listen,
could be,
man,
you may have some really cool pencils given out or something.
Cool. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about that off the air. Should be a G team
The bat? Well, did you see? I mean, you see Victor. That was like Victor's way of like putting it out.
Yeah, it's
So
guerrilla
they sent it to
marketing.
big leaguers.
I know. I'm saying, why can't we have a G team wrap?
Ooh. Well, you gotta get a deal with Marucci for that one.
Yep.
It's a phone call away.
Yeah. And
Boy, that's probably
888.
Yeah, well, it's also hit some issue. Like we were going to do some shoes, and then put a logo on there, but I think that got nixed. I don't
Yeah.
think we can do
We
that.
should buy the
Yeah.
bases.
Yeah.
There's some other the real world business stuff gets in the way sometimes
That's
too.
right. That's right.
We appreciate you,
LSU.
dude. We appreciate
Absolutely.
this. This was
I
awesome.
enjoyed it, man. It was great. I'll be back.
Every Monday we'll have y'all on, so I'm sure we'll see you on again here soon once the next time.
Yeah, Ramsey.
Ramsey's trying to fish for Friday.
Yeah, listen.
Fish are biting today.
Is Ramsey really at with some clients, or is he fishing right now? That's the question.
70% fishing.
Yeah, that's the question.
He is a very good fisherman. Though. He can find it.
Don't.
Well, you do it
don't
enough,
do
you'll
that.
get good at
Don't do
it.
that. Don't
He's
do
fishing in a place where it's easiest to fish.
That's right.
So, we appreciate you, dude.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the Monday. You have 4 games of baseball to watch. You got basketball this week. So, a lot of LSU, a lot of G team athletes out there. Go out and support. Appreciate everything y'all do.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir.
Way to tickle his legal brain. He was like, I thought it was going to come chop it up.
He's the one who brought it up. He brought it up in the corner before. Hey, we should talk about this. You can get up whenever you want. We don't take breaks here.
Yeah.
We just go. We go live. You can hang out, sit with us if you want.
Yeah, I'll hang out and listen.
All right, cool.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That interview is brought to you by our G team. Let's get into baseball conversation. LSU had another 4-game series this past weekend, a round robin, so to say. They had first game against who did they play?
Stony Brook.
Stony Brook, and then
They played Northern Illinois first.
Northern Illinois, Stony Brook, Northern Illinois, Stony Brook.
Oh, they did
Right.
start on Thursday.
So
right.
Northern Illinois, they won the
How
first
much
game.
that pains you?
Lose to Stony Brook 5-2, right? Which it's one of those things. LSU 7-1. It's not like they played terrible. It was just one of those things that we had talked about. They had some balls that were hard. They had a ball hit to right field that was a sun ball, scored some runs, maybe bobbled a couple balls. It wasn't like they got blown out. It wasn't like they made a bunch of errors. Just kind of some weird, fluky things. They lose 5-2. They come back the next day. Offense still a little down. They don't score a ton of runs.
3 hits?
Only 3 hits. Scored 6 runs, I believe. With those 3 hits, they win the game 6-2. I don't know the exact score of that third game. And then on Sunday, they're up 13-2. Bullpen comes in. Was that 5-2 on Saturday, and then it was 13-2 on Sunday in the 5th. Bullpen comes in. Stony Brook, 6 straight pinch hitters. Never seen that before.
Never seen that.
All 6 pinch hitters
Can rake.
reached base. So 6 straight guys they put in off the bench for their starters because they're down 13-2. All 6 guys got on, not all by hits, some by walks.
Mm-hmm.
And so LSU kind of pitched Stony Brook's way back into the game. Stony Brook scores 6 runs in I believe the top of the 6th inning maybe, or top of the 5th inning, and it went from 13-2 to 13-8. LSU goes out and then scores some more runs. Final score ends up being 18-10, kind of a slugfest. A lot of runs scored, more runs than Jay would probably have liked. But throughout the weekend, I don't think they played their best, right? Which I think that's obvious. And I think everybody can see that. There's definitely no reason to press the panic button. We talked about this, Jay. We talked about this before the season. Give this offense some time to figure it out, right? Like they have some new guys in there. Don't forget, you lose 5 of your top offensive producers last year. You lose Dylan Cruz, obviously. You lose Trey Morgan. You lose Cade Beloso. You lose Braden Jobert, and you lose Gavin Dugas. That's 5 guys that are veteran players with a lot of production. You're replacing those guys with very talented players, but just guys with a lot of experience. So we talked about it's going to take some time for them to figure it out and for Jay to figure out the lineup that he likes. And I think you kind of saw it this weekend.
So to me, 2 things. This is a pretty easy answer, but I think we could all answer this. Who was better, junior year Dylan Cruz or freshman year Dylan Cruz?
Junior.
So when junior year Dylan Cruz leaves and you enter someone with that amount of at-bats or less, what do you expect to get early on in the year? Junior year Dylan Cruz production or something lesser?
Right.
Lesser, right? That's one thing. Secondly, so like you said, when you have all these guys leave, it's only right that you're going to get lesser production early on for sure. There's guys have to have some time to kind of get going and kind of get a feel for what they're doing. And you would expect a lineup that left so many really good experienced hitters, there has to be some time for them to kind of catch up there.
Right.
That's one. The second thing is let's be honest. Let's be completely honest.
That's what we're about.
You're not going to play your best every single day, right?
No.
Right.
Okay, so if
56-0?
I'm as a coach and I've filled out a schedule that gets me to conference and we haven't lost the game, do you really – now, obviously, you're coaching every game to win, and you want to win every game,
Right.
but do you really feel that good about what you put out there, knowing, especially with a team like this that's going to have some guys kind of figure it out to get going, that if we're just winning, we don't ever lose and we're not ever challenged, what do we really have?
Right.
I don't know what I really got.
Right.
And when you got a guy on Friday, the guy for Stony Brook, the first game that they played against them, who's up there, he's 93-96, and he's able to control it, and he's able to throw a breaking ball with it. I'm not surprised that they left there with 2 runs.
5 innings, 5 innings, 2 earns, 2 runs, 1 earned, 3 hits,
Yeah.
3 walks, and 8 punches.
Seven
punches.
I'm not surprised about that at all. And I'll flip it on the other side. People are like, oh, we should beat them. Oh, it's Stony Brook. Oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, they can't hit. Or, oh, they're not as good as us on that side. Hey, they left there with 5 runs. If you're telling me all we got to score is 5 to 6 a night to win, I like our chances on the season to be a lot better than we are bad. Right? And they went into the 8th, I think, where they scratched across 2 more, and it was just 3-2 at that point. Yeah. So it's not like they went out there and just beat your doors off.
Right.
So if that's the losses that we're going to have, I like us going forward. Let's see those guys kind of keep improving, keep going, and see where they kind of end up.
And if LSU was going out there and they weren't putting some good swings on pitches, right, to where they weren't hitting balls hard that maybe didn't fall or hit right at guys, or they were making 4 or 5 errors a game and they were walking 17 guys and they were getting beat by Stony Brook.
It looks bad.
9-2, and it looked sloppy, that'd be one thing. This one didn't look sloppy. It just looked like it was just one of those baseball games, right? Baseball, and that's a tough excuse to say, but that's the way baseball is sometimes. Sometimes the team comes out there, the breaks fall their way. They have a sun ball double that scores 2 runs. They have a ball that's hit down the line with the bases loaded, scores 3 more runs. Like, those breaks fall. Sometimes it happens. You get a guy on the mound throwing 93, 97. He's on his game. He throws really well, keeps him in the game, puts him in a good position. That's just part of it.
That's after you've been seeing 83, 85 for the majority of
right.
the last 6 games before that.
Right. That's part of it, right?
But the thing is, too, it doesn't really matter, because if you're 3-7 and then all of a sudden you're landing a second pitch, I don't care if we've been seeing 3-7 every day. Chances are they're probably not all doing that, mixing and throwing other pitches for strikes. So when somebody's doing that, yeah, it's gonna be a tougher day. It just is what it is.
And that's where I don't want to say criticism, but some of the question marks came around Thatcher Hurd, who I do not think pitched poorly at all in his second Friday night start, where he went 4 1/3, and he still struck out 8, and people want to start calling for, should you change pitchers for the opener against Texas?
Yeah, and he's not walking a bunch of guys. He's just getting.
I think he's been told to throw strikes.
Yeah, and he's getting hit, and that's okay. Like, he's gonna find. You would imagine he's gonna start figuring out, as long as he's around the zone. That's what you want him to be, right? Now, people are hitting him, okay, but I don't think he's going to continue to get hit.
Well, that's where the question comes in. Do you want him to be able to do that in the Friday night rule, or what they're doing on Saturday?
Well, Luke, I mean, it may not be up to him at this
been-
point, because Luke Holman's throwing really well, right? So Luke Holman has had 2 outstanding starts in a row. Yeah. I don't know if Jay's ready to make that move yet, but if Holman continues to do that, whether Thatcher is good or not, if Holman is doing that, that's Friday night stuff. Right? And so it may be, hey, you've earned your right to throw on Friday, not so much as an indictment to Thatcher as much as a, hey, you've earned this.
I'll tell you
why
what,
we brought you here.
In my mindset, I'll be honest with you, if Thatcher keeps throwing the way he's throwing and Holman keeps throwing the way he's throwing, you know what's going to get Thatcher out of the Friday night role? The lineup will. Because if we go a Friday night and we go against somebody else's ace and Thatcher gives up 3 and they give up 1, we're going to be sitting here saying, oh, Thatcher gave it up. And realistically, it's like 3 runs? That's giving it up? All right, maybe we'll throw the guy on Saturday that's been throwing Saturday who's been giving up 1 or 2. Maybe we'll flip-flop him because we're not scoring enough on Friday night. It ain't going to be – if they keep throwing the way they're throwing, it ain't going to be Thatcher's throwing that gets him out of it. It's going to be, well, the lineup's not producing on that night, and we're not having a chance to win, so maybe we do need to switch it. I would think that would be the thing that would
and look, Thatcher only gave up 3 runs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he pitched poorly at all, especially when you look at the totality of the innings pitched and the strikeouts.
Yeah.
Like you talked about the sun ball and some things that happened where that's 2 kind of starts in a row where it didn't really go. All the breaks went against him.
Right.
And then you have
you got this is one of the worst places to get spoiled with the performance that you got from Skeens last year, where we looked up in the 6th every time we went out there, and it was 9 Ks with 62 pitches and 14 balls thrown, and you were like, "Yo, what's going on?"
LSU's up 8-0 in the 4th.
Yeah, that's not normal. You're not gonna get. I don't care year in and year out. You're not gonna get that out of a Friday night guy. So to follow that up exactly, temper your expectations a little bit,
right?
And give him a chance to kind of fall into that role.
And I think
he was the first pick in the draft.
No. Right. There's a reason why he did something we've never seen before.
Right. There's a reason why people say you may not see another Paul Skeens, right? The way he's done it and how he did it, and how he was like the makeup that he had. Like that's a once in a generation type talent, and we were fortunate enough to see that. Now I think we are deeper on the mound. We've talked about that. Holman went 7 innings, He only threw 77 pitches, which is why. I mean, he was on the verge of having a Maddox.
About 11,
Having a great
11
Maddox.
pitches. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's 11 pitches, which is very low, right? If you're at 10, 11, 12 pitches an inning,
If you had that 10 to
Boy, that's-
13, it's impressive.
yeah, that's impressive, right?
No
And
matter
so-
what, you got to face 3.
Right. And he is shoving. And that's just the way it's going. Look, Gage Jump looked really good. Javen Coleman looked really good.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're starting to see this depth start to show up, right? And I think you have more depth in the lineup than we even really think right now, because Jay's going to continue to rotate everybody in. He has proven that this year, that he is going to allow a lot of guys to have an opportunity to show what they can do, right? Milam's going to continue to get more at-bats. He looked really good at shortstop, looked really good at second base, right? Braswell, for whatever you want to say, he swung the bat better this weekend. He had the triple, and he had some big moments at the plate, right? Now, the defensive plays that Milam was able to make at shortstop and at second base, I think maybe raised some eyebrows, like, oh, wow, this guy
Keep
maybe
on
be
with
a
the
little bit
stick.
better than we thought at shortstop position. But Jay is going to continue to rotate those guys. Ashton Larson's a huge outfield recruit. He hasn't played yet. They're going to get him in there. Kucherak, who's a freshman shortstop, Jay wants to get him in the lineup more. You have all the catchers that have rotated in and out, right? There's only 2 or 3 guys that Jay has shown that he's going to keep in the lineup every day. Tommy is one of those guys. Bear Jones has been one of those guys. And for the most part, Travinsky has been one of those guys. And, Paxton Kling starting to figure it out. Paxton Kling is now, listen, you don't have to make your presence known just by getting hits.
No.
Paxton this weekend got on base. As a leadoff guy, as a guy who can run, as a guy who is athletic,
Batted 9-hole and 1-hole.
you want that guy to get on base. And he did that this weekend. He's getting hits. He is walking. He's getting hit. He's putting himself in an opportunity to set up the guys behind him to drive him in. And so I think you're starting to see that, and you're going to continue to see that. I don't know if you're going to see a lineup solidified till maybe middle of the SEC, maybe later than that.
They have enough to do it this way. Like last year, they had 8 guys who had 150 or more at bats on the season. And the 8th guy was Bear Jones, who we basically didn't see play like the last month of the season.
Right.
I think this year you may see 10 to 11 guys with 150 plus at bats on the season, which shows you how much depth they have and how much they can kind of interchange these guys and kind of keep rolling them in and out.
Yeah, and look, at some point, the
It'll
lineup
solidify.
The lineup is going to, you're not going to have 4, 5, 6 different guys every lineup, towards the end of the season. At some point, you would imagine that's going to get, okay, and maybe you have 2 or 3 guys that kind of have this little bit of a rotation. But, with Pearson being able to play outfield and infield, I think that gives him a lot of options. Milam being able to play second and short and probably third. If they absolutely needed him to. And being a switcher, that gives them options. And then you have, Braswell obviously is a shortstop. And then you have
Neal, who can switch hit from both
Neal,
sides.
who can switch hit. You have all the catchers.
The season's always going to season itself, right? You're lucky already just even through
Season's always going to season.
2 weeks of the season.
Ceiling is the roof.
Well, you got 2 weeks of the season.
No
You've
doubt.
seen everybody be pretty healthy, too.
No
We
doubt.
haven't thrown that in it as well. That's going to happen. Where, we don't know, but you're not going to go through 56 plus
Right.
with everybody
Right.
that you started this thing with.
Right.
They've been very lucky so far, and hopefully they stay lucky for longer than anyone else in the country.
Ethan Fry's had a couple starts, right? He's been in the outfield. He has a big potential to play first. He was a catcher coming in. You just have a lot of guys doing a lot of different things, and the season's going to season, right? And that's a really good way to see it. It's going to continue to evolve. I think what is very pleasantly surprising for me, we talked about all the lefties. All the lefties, and they're throwing well. Most of the lefties they've thrown out, they have thrown really well. The question was what righty is going to step up out of the bullpen to be their go-to righties outside of Guidry. Because you know what you're going to get with Guidry. We talked about Aiden Moffitt. He's looked really good in his outings. We talked about Bucknam. He's looked really good.
got hit a
Actually,
little
we
bit.
haven't really talked much about
He
Buck.
got hit a little bit this
little
but
bit.
he still looked good.
Right, like he looked good out there. Obviously, Christian Little has come and done some things. Obviously, there's some up and down there still, but he has done, he has the ability to get guys out. But more so than him, I think you got Ulloa. Obviously, he's been one that Jay has said, okay,
Yeah.
I count on you like I count on Guidry right now.
Hey, listen, that's 3 of them right there, too. You just named outside of Guidry where you're like, boy, if I can get quality innings out of those 3 guys, this game gets real short real quick because I got a million lefties that I could match up if I just needed to match them up. I got 3 good right-handed arms, and I still got Guidry behind him, and I'm hoping that at least 2 to 3 to possibly 4 of these starters could give me 4 to 5 to 6 innings.
We didn't even talk about Dutton yet, right? And we talked about Sam Dutton last week, but again, he looked good again. Like he's just –
You've got 3 extended starters in
You've got a lot of guys out there that can do a lot of really good things.
Ackenhausen.
Lefty.
No, I'm talking about 3 extended guys that if you get to only 4 1/3, where you're like, all right, I have a guy
Griffin
that can throw
Herring,
3. Griffin Herring, Ackenhausen, and then I think Sammy is kind of in that same build of he can give you more than just get me out the inning.
Right.
You know what I think you're going to see too, especially if for some reason those Friday night, Saturday night guys get into trouble, is you'll see
a quick hook.
Why? Because all right, if I got this many arms that I know I can Johnny Holstaff with on Sunday, then I'm winning these games for sure if I can. And I'll extend these guys as much as I can. And when I get to Sunday, I can Johnny Holstaff it better than you can.
Yeah.
And this is with the 4-game series that we're basing this off of, as opposed to a 3-game.
Yep.
Right, and I'm glad that's great. Good job, Lloyd. Yep. Way to produce right there. That's great. That's a great segue getting us into this because we announced before the show started they're in Texas, they're in Houston for not a 4-game series, but for 4 games. We said that Rice was Thursday. Rice is actually Wednesday. That was my mistake. So they drove to Houston today. They are going to practice tomorrow, play Wednesday, off Thursday, play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Listen.
Juice is worth the squeeze.
Listen to me. I know, look, these guys probably way more responsible than we were.
I tell you what, they probably had some smiling faces getting on that bus today.
I will say this.
5th-year seniors?
I will say this. Houston, Texas has a lot to offer in the realm of fun, in the realm of, hey, let's go team bonding stuff,
Team meeting.
Yeah, team meeting. Monday, they traveled there today, 4.5-hour drive from here. They're going to stay in probably a pretty nice hotel. They're going to get a nice dinner tonight, and then they're going to be off tomorrow.
Listen, boys.
They're going to do their study hall, whatever they have to do on Tuesday. Make sure they get their stuff done.
I hope they brought enough phone chargers.
You didn't have a
there.
lot of extra money.
We didn't. Listen, that's a good point.
I hope they brought the phone chargers because them things gonna be buzzing all week.
Point. We didn't listen. We were scraping together. Hey, how much you got? How much you got? Okay, we're gonna do this.
A Malazzo's gonna be the talk of the town.
Hey, we ain't got a lot of scraping to do anymore. We got hey, what you got? How much you got? Oh, I got. Don't worry about it, guys.
Yeah. What you mean? What you got? It was all per diem card. It was all per diem.
Pull up my platinum card right now and see what we got. Hey, I need we get some restaurants. We need some water on the rocks type stuff.
For the table.
For the table, right?
Malazzo better get ready because he already got announced. So they already know he's got.
Listen, with as much of Louisiana that either migrates back to Texas or moves to Texas after they leave LSU. Man, if they're doing this right, they should be in somebody's nice restaurant for a very low dollar. They should have reached out already about this.
Coach Maneri knew better.
He did.
I'll say that.
Or,
but
this team knows
what did I
better than
say?
y'all.
What did I say? We would have won.
We'd have won.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, you know my history.
You put me out. You put us out there. We're gonna put ourselves in a situation where we'll make sure we win the next time.
I want my back against the wall.
We'll make sure we win. Yeah, you perform better under pressure.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Sweat through the tape.
But look, the boys are in Houston. This is a fun experience for them. They're gonna all week
play for your freedom.
Heard you had a good time last night.
No, what do you mean?
What do you mean? I was here.
5?
Yeah,
5 beers.
5 whole beers.
These guys, they're in Texas. They're going to have a really good time. They're there for a full week. Really cool experience for these guys. Going to be a really good challenge for them, right? This is the whole – you brought this conversation up. It wasn't to make jokes, even though that's part of what we do. They had a 4-game series to start the season, right? You have a lot of opportunity to play a bunch of different guys, kind of tinker with some lineups, get some guys some opportunities, some at-bats, some innings, some experience. First weekend. Second weekend, same thing, right? Competition starting to ramp up a little bit. Same type of thing. You got 4-game series, a lot of opportunity to play a bunch of different guys. Now you go to Houston. This is outside of the travel part. The schedule of games is going to be very similar to what you're going to get in the weeks moving forward, minus the travel, right? So this whole week's going to be on the road. You got a Wednesday game against Rice. Rice is usually pretty solid. They've been down, but they're Rice, so they're never really know. And then you got Texas on. This is the round robin tournament thing that's at Minute Maid, right?
Yeah, the juice box.
Yeah, the juice box. You got Texas, who's ranked 15th in the country. Obviously, Texas is a solid squad. They're playing pretty good baseball. UL Lafayette, always going to put out a solid squad.
Not going out.
Obviously, playing LSU, a little extra juice for them, right?
Especially in that stadium.
Especially in that stadium. Closer to Lafayette, you're going to have, they're going to want to beat LSU's ass. So you're going to get their best bullet on Saturday. And then Texas State, another Texas school, they're going to be okay. Obviously, talent's not going to be as top-notch as LSU, but
long weekend.
Long weekend.
Hey, let's be honest. This is a dream. If you're a player, this is a dream trip to be on in the sense of they're about to have 4 games in a row of probably 10,000 plus every single game. This is a great tune-up for SEC play and or some kind of postseason feel because of what they're going to get in terms of crowds. I would love to have been a player on this trip simply because of what you're going to get here. Not because of that shit.
Yeah.
That's inherited. We all know that. That thought process, okay, cool. But like on the playing field, this is cool. This is real cool.
No doubt. And look at what happened last year.
Rub that stamp on me.
What was one of the bigger moments in the year? Was that last year or the year before? When
it was last year when Jordan Thompson hit the home run against
right?
Texas.
Yeah. One of the bigger moments of the year, Jordan Thompson walk-off homer over the train tracks. Like, you get those types of opportunities in tournaments and in situations like this. So it's going to be a really cool experience for them. It's going to be the first really big challenge for LSU. I'm looking forward to it because how are they going to react? First road games of the year, better competition, teams that really want to beat you, right? These guys that came in these past 2 weeks, they wanted to win, right? Like, but there wasn't as much, you saw a little this, the GAT, whatever. Like, you get that. But you play UL, you get something a little different. Right, Texas obviously
they ruined their season last
the
year.
talent kind of hops up too. Like when
sure.
you get that and the talent hops up, it makes it that much.
For sure,
it ratchets it up
and
that
on
much
the
more.
road,
right? And the other thing, right now, this isn't 4 straight games like the last 2 weekends, but you are playing 3 straight weekends against teams. So listen, during the regular season, you have 3-game series against the same team, right? There's a reason why in professional baseball you have series, because in baseball anybody can win 1 game. The best teams are going to continue to win the series over and over and over again, right? So you're used to playing, okay, we got Friday night guy, Saturday night guy, Sunday night guy. You may see some of the guys in the bullpen 2 or 3 times a weekend. The more times you see them, the better you get. When you go in a tournament and you only get these guys 1 time, it makes it a little bit tougher, right? Because you may only see this guy 1 time and not see him again. You don't get the opportunity to have a lot of scouting reports on him. And so you're going through 3 straight weekends of playing teams, not consecutively. You're playing multiple teams. This weekend's going to be 4 straight teams, 4 different teams, but 3 teams in a row on the weekend. And so I think that poses its own challenges for these guys. And I think it's going to help them down the line. But, I mean, it's tough.
It's a testament to the coaching staff, honestly, to have to get ready every time.
No doubt.
But I also think you saw a little bit of the fine-tuning has started to already happen, especially on the pitching staff end, wherever you saw the last game against Stony Brook where LSU put up a ton, had a very comfortable lead, and then you saw them go to
Ulloa.
No, that's what I'm saying. They got there, but it was Moffitt, it was Cam Johnson, and it was like, all right, get him out of here, put Ulloa in. I gave you an opportunity, and it kind of ballooned a little bit to the point where it's like, all right, I know who I really trust. Like, you gave opportunities out there for players to make have a huge, like Cam Little came in that moment too, where it's like, okay, this is a chance for him to be able to pitch and compete in a game where it kind of matters to see, like, what do you have? He came in with runners on, gives up a couple of hits, walks a guy, and then you go Ulloa, and he gets you out of it in 2 pitches. And it's like, okay, well, that's the reason that I trust him, and that's why he was last up. Because you wanted to see people compete in that moment to see, all right, how can we fill out this kind of middle part of the pitching staff, because you
Right.
have so many arms.
Right. No, absolutely. Right.
Because Moffitt came in, couldn't find it. Cam really couldn't find it. He got kind of bailed out by the Milam
play.
catch at second, where it was like that was hit hard, and he was really around the strike zone, and then you get to the point where it's like put a yo in. Like, so you see who he likes.
Yep. Right. And so you're going to have these. I mean, look at what Arkansas had to face this past weekend. Right. So Arkansas had to go play in their tournament.
Put up Little League World Series numbers.
I believe that was they almost lost that game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right? So they are playing. You good? Your contacts messed up?
Just one's really blurry right now.
You look at what Arkansas, I think that was in Houston, right? That was in Minute Maid. Was it not?
I think that was at Arkansas.
No.
No, I think it was at Minute Maid,
away.
too.
I don't know.
Somebody was there this weekend.
I think it was at Minute Maid. I think it was either at Minute Maid or in Dallas. I don't know exactly. It was in Texas.
Smooth.
And Arkansas plays Oregon State, who's ranked and good. Hagen Smith, lefty, probably the best pitcher in the SEC right now.
He's a problem.
Lefty, sitting 96, 98.
He's a problem.
Okay, so I want to put this in perspective. 6 innings, there's only 18 outs to make. He struck out 17 guys.
I'm going to say it again. He's a problem. And guess what? He came here and threw really well last year. He's a problem.
Problem, right? Top 5 pick.
He had
Without a
15
doubt.
strikeouts through 5 innings, which means he struck out
Everybody. Every out.
He mowed.
He wasn't perfect game.
I
but-
remember watching
yeah.
him last year here, and I was like, boy,
Yep.
who is this guy?
Yep.
He is absolutely mowing them down already.
But he goes, they take him out, they give up 4 runs, right? And they end up winning 5-4, right? Tough game. Then they got to play Oklahoma State. The next game goes into extra innings. They lose 2-1.
Push butt, 2 strikes.
Crazy, right? Like, you are playing high-level situations in these tournaments, but you're playing teams you're not able to get comfortable playing them because you only play them one time. And I think that poses a challenge. I think Arkansas ended up going 2-1 this past weekend. They lost to Oklahoma State in the extras, but they won the other 2 games they had. And, I'm not saying LSU is going to do that, but you're going to see them have to play different type of baseball against different teams that they won't see until maybe the postseason.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point because I'm not sure that every team that goes into these kind of tournaments go into it with a all hands on deck. I'll win this game however I can. Obviously, you want to win every game, but I don't think everyone plays it that way. So with that being said, I think some of these, you'll get a Texas State this is a marquee win for them.
Right.
They'll do what they can to win every single one of these games. Everything that they can do to win every single one of them. Where LSU's not going there to get work, but they're also going there to figure out who we got and what we got, right? Whereas you take a UL, call a spade a spade.
Did it
you
last
take
year.
Texas State. I need this win on my schedule for me later in the year.
Because they know how important
No
it
doubt.
is.
Exactly. So
No
it
doubt.
becomes a little bit of a different mindset. And when you kind of ratchet up the competition, and basically, I won't say that every team's approaching it the exact same way. It becomes a tougher task.
No, you saw UL last year go into LSU and throw their Friday night guy on a Wednesday, and it screwed them up they lost 4 to 6 conference games the last.
Because of how much they prioritized that win.
Yeah, like LSU wasn't throwing Skeens on Wednesday.
Right.
Like, okay, you got your win, great, but how does it set you up for your conference play, which is actually more important than beting LSU? And
No, it was not for them because I'm not going to say it's
No,
not,
but
they're
in
still in
totality-
the tournament. And how high did that rank? How high did the RPI or the schedule, strength of schedule? How high did that help them by beating LSU in that game?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what in LSU's case, that's why we're not throwing Skeens. Us beating
Right.
you doesn't mean any.
It's not going to help us like it's going to help you.
Right. So throw your best guy, do whatever you have to do, but don't look at it as okay. That was good on good,
Right.
because they're going to give you their best bullet
For sure, right? And because those RPI wins make a big difference for them later down the line. If they can
and a little bit of pride.
No doubt, but that's going to help them more than that's going to help. LSU should win it. That's going to help their RPI, the team that beats LSU, more so than it's going to help LSU. And so they do what they can do to get those games and steal those games because that's going to help them down the line. So you're going to see some of that stuff over the course of this weekend. I'm excited to watch it, man. I really am because this is going to be the first real big test that I see. Okay, let me see how he manages this because these are big. You know what I mean? Like this is how is he going to?
Not how is he? We kind of have a. I don't know, Jay. I say I don't know him. Like I can't call his exact coaching style, but what I will say is I expect when the I don't know, 2 runners on second and third, and the guy that's going 5 2/3 is reeling a little bit, and you got a 2-run lead. I expect for that guy he's pulling out of the pen to be like, he wants to see something out of that guy. This is, whether they know it or not, this is, oh, I need to know if you can handle this because I would like to be able to put you in this situation as we go through the year.
Right.
Not just hey, let me just get the first guy up who may be ready on the list or who may be available to pitch today. That's not what it is.
Right.
This is a moment I need to see,
Right.
do you have it or do you not?
Right. For
You
sure.
know his prep's going to be insane because that's just what Jay does.
Yep.
Oh, no doubt. I mean,
Of
he's
course,
ready.
of course.
He's gonna.
You know he's
He's
ready.
gonna be. They're gonna be
course.
scouted. They're gonna be ready to go. He's gonna know what matchups he wants for what guys. But we talked about it before the season, and we even talked about it after the first week. Don't be shocked if these games don't look pretty. Some of them, right? You saw that this past weekend. Not every game looked pretty. As long as they are able to figure out how to get through these games and get some wins and not have a ton of losses. I mean, Vanderbilt, I think, has got 3 losses already on the season, right? So, you're going to go through some of these ups and downs with new guys on a team. As long as they can figure out how to win ugly early on and continue to start trying to figure it out, that's going to be better suited down the line, right? And that's just what you're going to have to anticipate in the first month and a half of the season.
Whether it's hits or no hits, we've talked a lot about the pitching staff for a while, but the hitters in this situation, being new, coming up in big situations with big crowds, this is where you want to see a little graduation. You want to see those guys kind of fight through at bats. You want to see those guys get deep in the counts. You want to see those guys foul off bastard pitches. This is a weekend where you're like, all right, this is what we want to see.
Right. What?
It's probably too early to do a projection, but from what you've seen so far with LSU and the lineup, who do you expect to see?
Well, that's what I was going to get to, right? You're talking about some of the maturity and growing and doing these things, right? I think you're starting to see
The cream.
Well, yeah, but you're also starting to see some of the guys that, hey, he's been working on this, right? Now, they haven't seen the elite pitching yet, but last year, Jared Jones could not hit a breaking ball, right? He just couldn't stay back on it, was swinging over it. This year, he's made a big adjustment, right? That was a big thing. Hey, is he going to be able to be a little more patient, be able to not swing and miss as much, be able to stay back on all speed? You've seen that early on in the season. You've seen him hit balls
Do it myself.
up the middle, homers, opposite field home runs, breaking balls, calling a shot, right? That's a huge thing. And that is a product of maturity and experience and hard work and him trying to do the things that he needs to do. You saw Paxton Clean get off to kind of a not a great start the first weekend of the season. He didn't look great in some of the swings that he had. Moving forward, he looked pretty good these last couple weeks, right? Hit the homer. He's starting to feel himself, getting on base, more aggressive swings. Milam starting to get in the lineup, play a little bit more experience. Pearson's getting a professional bat. Tommy White he's having a great start. But, people look at it like, damn, I thought he would have had 4 home runs. Nobody's got 7 RBIs. He's hitting 350.
He hadn't sniffed a lace.
And, he's doing what he needs to do. You're starting to see Travinsky, hit the opposite field double yesterday. You're starting to see these things happen. And you talk about who I think is going to be in the lineup. Those guys that I mentioned, I think those guys are going to be stalwarts in the lineup. They're going to be everyday guys.
I think Bingham's in that conversation too.
I think Bingham's in there with the pure experience, but
Just keeps getting on base.
you have so many guys, man. You just got to – and listen, as competition ratchets up, thank you. Ratchets up, you're going to start seeing these guys take that next step. You're going to start seeing some of these guys maybe struggle a little bit because they're going to see something they haven't seen. And then that's when you're going to start seeing.
And this is the first time outside the comfort zone a little bit of not in Alex Box. You're on MLB
Right.
Network for at least the Texas game, which will be tape delayed, but at least it's on national quote unquote television as opposed to going to maybe some outside sources that you can find on YouTube. That's friend of the show that you can find out there, or you have SEC Network Plus. But this is going to be easily accessible, and you're not within the friendly confines of Alex Box.
That's for me. That's what I expect to see Jada approach it a lot like he's approached the first 2 weekends, honestly. So I kind of get you away from home. I kind of get you on a bigger stage.
Yep.
I still need to see who's going to do what. So I still think you're going to see a lot of different lineups. I still think you're going to see him kind of switch it up to get the same kind of opportunities. And I don't expect to see 10-plus point blowouts. So he's going to have guys finish games out and kind of see what they are through. You're not going to have I highly doubt you're going to have guys with 4 or 5 at bats through 5, through 6, and now let's go ahead and put in the bench or whoever's on the bench that day. I think you're going to see guys have to finish out games.
Right.
Interested to see what they do with the pitching staff, starter-wise.
That's the other thing, right? I mean, we've heard some rumors on who they may start on Friday. To me, that one doesn't make a ton of sense, right? Like if they were going to change the Friday starter, if it's not going to be Thatcher, this is
live. This is on air.
What?
What?
So a Gage Jump has been talked about potentially starting Friday. I'm not saying he's not going to, and maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know Texas's lineup. I don't know if it's lefty heavy early on. I don't know what it is. They've been building Gage Jump up to be a starter. We know that, right? That has been the
impetus of the season.
Yes, right. We knew, hey, he's not ready. He didn't pitch last year. We want to get him in there. We're going to build him up, right? But to build him up, to already throw him in as a Friday night guy right now, when you have a guy throwing on Saturday who has been very dominant and has been used to being in that Friday spot and is not in a position where you're trying to ramp him up, it seems like he would be the guy unless there's a matchup situation that Jay likes more. I don't know that. I haven't done any research on Texas. I will go and do that after the show and talk about it.
Well, we finally have the information available.
Right.
If you see Gage Jump on Friday night, I would 100% believe it's matchup based and not off of, hey, let me move him here, let me move him out.
Yeah.
Because if it was that, it would be exactly
so I
what
would
everybody
imagine
would think.
Kate Anderson did not throw last weekend, right?
No.
Yeah, I would imagine he's throwing the Rice.
I would imagine he's throwing the Rice game. So I'd imagine he's going to start on Wednesday. I don't know this for a fact.
Right.
This is strictly what I'm looking at, but I'm assuming. He's going to start on Wednesday. And then the Friday game will be either Thatcher, who's been starting Friday, and I guess Gage Jump, since he started last Thursday, is available to start on Friday, but I just don't know if that's the case. Maybe they want to piggyback. Maybe they want
double barrel him.
Maybe they want Gage to throw first, throw 3-4 innings, and then Thatcher come in after him. I don't know if that's what his plan is, but I would imagine, unless it's matchup based, that just Holman makes more sense if you want to change the Friday night starter, moving into Luke Holman. I mean, he's been dominant in 2 starts.
And we'll say this too as well too. Like you just never know. Maybe there is a, instead of let's jump somebody in front of him, maybe there is the thought process of if we push him back, we like his stuff against this lineup better.
Right.
Instead of, we just don't want him to face this lineup.
Right.
There is that possibility as well.
And look, I know we've talked about a lot of the arms. Jay obviously likes Javen Coleman a lot. You know, he threw him on Sunday.
What a pleasant surprise.
He looked good. I think you're going to continue to see him. It seems like his fastball has got a little extra giddy up, even at 93.
He jumped a little bit more. Yep.
Yeah, and so
he's consistent with it more this year too.
Absolutely.
He would kind of spike up to 93, but he sat, especially like that second inning out.
At first year back, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
I'm not saying anything like that, but he would, I'd get up to 93 and I'd come back out the next inning. It was 88 to 90. Yeah. And now he's kind of holding that 3 a little bit better. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Not surprised at all.
And so I think like you said, that's a pleasant surprise to see him be as good early on in the season as he's been, especially in the Sunday spot. What are you laughing at?
Because then you could fast forward if you want to play like pie in the sky of Newt and Chase Shores that are still just.
Which I don't think you're going to see Chase this year.
I know. I'm just saying pie in the sky.
You're going to see Newt.
When did he get hurt?
Before the year.
Okay, and then
Maybe
Chase
in
Shores
the
was
fall.
during the year, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, Newt's throwing, like, you're going to probably see him relatively soon, I would imagine.
Just add another arm.
Just more. Right? Which is, look.
It's an arms race.
If you look at, no doubt, right? Like, if you look at what's going on in the SEC and you look at the best teams, they have a lot of the best arms. I mean, Arkansas's rotation is, their pitching staff is very good.
Yeah.
Anchored by, he could be the number 1 overall pick.
Could be.
I mean, he's a lefty throwing 96, 98, striking 17 guys out in 6 innings.
If I remember correctly, I think he got banged up a little bit last year. If he's able to stay healthy and continues to throw the way he's thrown so far,
that is a lefty throwing upper 90s with dominant stuff. Like, that's 1 overall type stuff. And so you have to be able to compete with other teams on the mound. Pitching, defense, obviously SEC, you want to score runs. And yeah, that's important. You got to score runs to win.
Unless you got Danny Almonte.
What?
Little League World Series.
Yeah, I know who Danny Almonte is, but where did that come from?
Arkansas. If he's going to strike out everybody he faces.
Well, he's also cheating. Danny Almonte was cheating. He was older.
NIL.
Well, can't bring in
somebody else.
You can't bring in a guy from the minor leagues to come back down and throw in college.
I'm 12.
And just say, I am 12. I am 12. So that's Danny Almonte. A little cheated. You know, he didn't make it in pro ball. He tried.
Oh, he had too many miles on the tires.
How do you go up from that? You just struck out everybody you faced in the League World Series. How do you feel good about yourself?
I would 100% feel great.
I know you would. You're a bad person.
That would be all time. I would have retired
15
from
playing against 12-year-olds, but I'm going to throw 100 miles an hour.
Nuking them all.
That is actually equivalent to like 150. Yeah. Not great.
Talk of the town.
Talk of the world. Talk of the country.
Draft him.
I mean, unbelievable.
Actually, I am draft eligible.
Yeah. I mean, coming out of Dominican, they draft guys in 16 years old all the time.
Oh, yeah. Let's bring them over here.
Yeah. This weekend's going to be...
I always used to love that because it was always the...
Put them here for 3 years in the academy and then...
No, dude, like they went... It's always the 22-year-old, and he's the hot young 22-year-old coming up to the big leagues, and you're like, bro, he's been playing pro ball for 6 years.
Yeah.
He's been playing 100-plus game schedules for the last 6 years of his life.
Doesn't know any better.
This is a lot of work. Like, no, I've been doing this since I was 12.
And this guy's 21. That's unbelievable. Yeah, he's been here for 5 years.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's literally like a...
He's been facing 100 miles an hour and guys that are 10 years older than him for 5 years.
He's been doing it for, that's literally like a college player being in, minor league ball for 5 years, and they say, hey, I think he's finally ready. He's 27. He's a little old. Oh, really?
Yeah. Crazy. Wild. But yeah, so it's going to be – I wouldn't press the panic button on LSU baseball, obviously. Like, they're 7-1. They're doing what they need to do to get wins. This weekend's a great litmus test for them, and they're going to move forward into –
the other foot was going to drop at some point.
No doubt. No doubt. Listen, these guys, the more at-bats you get offensive, pitching is always going to be ahead of hitting, unless you have a veteran lineup. That's just the way it is.
Still probably going to be a bad.
Still going to, right. Still
If
gonna be,
you want a good team, it better be ahead.
Right. You're going to have, and listen, you have SEC's got some really good teams, but they got some teams like Ole Miss is struggling. Ole Miss is in a bad spot. Mississippi State, who's the first SEC team, not in a good spot, right? You get to start the SEC against Mississippi State. We talked about here, just get series wins. You don't need to worry about sweeps. Like, when you have an opportunity to get a sweep, you go get one, right? And I'm not saying, hey, it's a sweep or it's a lost series, but like that's a sweepable series.
He's saying that. Mikey's doing that. Don't do that.
Sweepable series.
Don't do that.
Sweepable.
It's not sweepable until you get the first two. Don't do that.
You're right. You're right. But
y'all set it up to where it was going to be like 1-3 would be great.
Huh?
I mean, you're in Houston all weekend.
No, dude. No. Not you don't want to go 1-3.
Let's just build in the excuses. It's okay.
No, I don't like it.
You're laying the foundation.
Last time I checked, there's 4 teams that's going to be in Houston all weekend.
Well, you don't play Mississippi State next weekend anyway. After you play Xavier first.
No, I'm talking about this juice box series.
Oh,
no, you
don't
go undefeated.
I expect him to win. I'm just saying it's gonna look a little differently than some might expect.
I thought Kling was probably the big winner of the weekend.
Okay.
Because I would expect if he plays well that LSU. Yeah, I do too. But if you thought, let me finish what I said. Lawyer.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Motion to strike.
Good.
I would say that for LSU, even if Paxton Kling plays that well and you still lose, it shows that there's other guys around you that can pick you up even when he doesn't play well. But for him to get hot and have an on-base percentage over 500 at this point in the year, and what he does on the base pass, I thought proved a lot of what that new kind of different style of how to manufacture runs at LSU is
you saw
leaning
Miles
toward.
Throw a couple bags. Kling's been running.
It's
more.
just they put pressure on you.
Exactly. And we talked about that as part of. And Jay even said it right. Like
that's
how he's always generated runs in his career. Last year was kind of an anomaly on guys who can hit the ball at the ballpark, but that's part of.
Well, what do you expect? I mean, this is baseball to its core, right? It's LSU with runners in scoring position. You saw it last year whenever they were 2 for 9 in the loss to Stony Brook with runners in scoring position. They were, I think, 6 for 6 And the second game against Stony Brook, it's like, yeah, that's how you win baseball games. It doesn't always happen that way because
Well, when
it happens, runners in scoring position usually with 2 outs.
Well, it's baseball, so you're not going to get hits all the time. But here's the deal: you go 4 for 12 with runners in scoring position. That doesn't sound great. That's hitting 333 with runners in scoring position. You probably, if you got 4 bases, runners in scoring position, you probably scored 6+ runs.
It's at least 4.
Right, at least 4 runs. And so, you're not going to always be 500, 600 perfect with guys in scoring position. You just want them to be able to drive guys in in the timely situations. And, they've been able to do that. And we'll see if it continues throughout the course of the weekend. But we'll be here to talk about it. Actually, we're not going to have no, we will.
What?
Yeah, we are on Friday. We are going to have one. Take that back. Pull back.
I have to hustle back
From?
my play-by-play debut
On Friday.
on Thursday night.
Yeah, but can you come back Friday morning? For me, please?
It depends on what happens. I don't know what I'm getting myself into.
No, I'll give you a raise. for that
Okay.
one game.
Deal. See, that's how you art of the deal for all those listening. That's how you do
I'll
it.
give you a little bit of a bump.
I heard
Oh, perfect.
Here we go.
offering acceptance here.
Here we go.
Oh wow, he took that there that quick.
I know.
Quick.
I'll take that in
we'll be here.
I'll take that in perpetuity.
We will be here to talk
I
about.
want my restitution.
We'll be here to talk about all the coverage of the
get that
weekend.
before
We'll have the
Thursday?
coverage, have the updates, have conversations about it. But I think I'd expect for you to have an exciting weekend, good quality baseball. I will not go to another LSU basketball game the rest of the year. Not because I don't want to, but because I seem to mush them every time I go.
It's your fault.
We're gonna keep you at the
It
baseball.
also didn't help that
You can still go to women's games.
Also, the award that got hurt, that didn't help.
I know, that was
I know you didn't watch the game. It's fine.
It's unbelievable. So we went.
He's 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, by the way. Makes a big difference.
So you listen to the color commentary?
I mean, that's what they said.
That's what they keep saying.
I didn't realize he had a 7-foot. I knew he was 6'6". I didn't know he had a 7-foot wingspan. Like that's a defender. Like that's a defender that you're not going to be able to replicate, and he can shoot it from the outside. And you start to see him start to create some offense on his own. All right, becoming more of a scorer.
So
which,
promising what you saw, and then it,
no doubt. And look, we said if they went 4-1 in the next 5 games, they put themselves in a good spot. Now, obviously, that's not the game that you want them to lose because you feel like you have some momentum at home. They can get back on in the winning column on Wednesday. They play Ole Miss. It's going to be another tough one for them, but seems like they play better whenever their backs are against the wall and Matt McMahon's doing something special there. So you'll be able to watch that on Wednesday. We'll talk about it.
yeah, it must have been nice.
Mississippi State's really good defensively
They were big,
and big.
very big.
I mean,
and that somebody just went nuclear. Apparently, I was at a
yep.
couple shower
Second half.
at one of these houses. I know I did
One of
the
these houses.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, where
Yeah.
they're throwing a party, and instead of where a TV would be, it's a piece of art, and it's like, is this what your day-to-day life is like, or is it set up for this party? Because there's not a TV in sight. I was like, there's no way that you're this comfortable every day just not watching TV. And so that's what we were dealing with at a couple shower. Do you know what I'm talking about when you've
I
gone to
know.
these places that like host you, and it was like above the fireplace, perfect spot, TV, art. Like,
Yeah.
can't find a remote. I looked all over.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not
I was trying to work.
yeah.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I did put LSU's second half in. It was like, this is the formula.
Yeah, it didn't
bit
work out.
me.
That's what I said. I was sitting where I was at the game. I was like, they're down 6. They're down 13. It's like, I was like, oh, they got them exactly where
Perfect.
they want them. And they kind of tried to, and then didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
But I expect them to play better basketball on Wednesday, and we will hopefully get a dub. All right, we got some seggies today.
We do. I wanted to find, I think it got deleted. I have a mistake of the day. There was just another one that was funny because you mentioned Ole Miss baseball, where they are so much on the hot seat because just there's a lot of turmoil amongst.
Well, they lost 4 straight. They won the first 2. I think they lost the next 2 at Hawaii, and then they lost 2 more.
Somebody got hacked in their Twitter, and
Shortstop got hacked apparently.
and then that became a huge deal. And then Ole Miss.
Now there's apparently a alleged burner account.
yeah, I
saw
saw
that.
that too, which is awesome. that immediately got sniffed out. Then he deleted that account as well because I tried to find it like within probably 15 minutes. It's gotten to the point where now, what's the bar at Ole Miss that people go to?
The library.
Yeah, they're now following the Ole Miss baseball team and taking pictures of where they were sitting and the amount of drinks that were on the table. Like, you wonder why our program's in the shitter.
Well,
That's tough.
that's very tough because that's a harsh spot.
That's not good. But if you can't show up and actually get it done the next day, maybe it makes sense.
That's tough.
Nah,
We
that's
play
tough,
better.
that's tough.
Both Mississippi schools are in a bad spot right now.
But the real mistake of the day that I actually have video of is
Yeah.
you got to be a bold man. Cam Newton, I would say one of one.
Oh, God.
It's a big
Superhero.
human being.
It's very large.
Superman was a nickname for a reason.
And the 7-on-7
Still in great
team,
shape, by the way.
I mean, I just don't think you grew out of this.
So is the hat.
So is that.
Didn't move.
That
Didn't
has
budge.
the hole in the middle of the hat. That's why it didn't move, because the hair's in the middle of the hole of the hat that he got custom made probably for a lot of money.
Or just cut the top off. Abraham Lincoln would never. But this is Cam getting jumped and then just bodying everybody. Like, I don't know who these 7-on-7 people think they are. That's
Look at his eyes on the free blitzer right there. Still seeing the whole field.
He actually, the other guy came in with a haymaker and he turned the other guy to get hit.
Look at him just seeing the whole field, knowing what's going on. Look at him.
By the way, 5 different dudes tried to jump him and he's
Jawan
still
Wick.
on his feet.
That's incredible.
But he just grabbed the man with the backpack. Just got all the work, and then you just can't get this. Like, this man was paid professionally
He's
to not
got
get
2 of
tackled.
them. Look at him.
Oh, look, that other guy tried to be a big tough guy and then smoked his boy.
Cam didn't throw one punch in this.
No.
Smiling the whole time.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. There's John Wick and there's Jawan Wick, and that's Cam. Like, y'all thought
This
thought
guy
I was
right
retired?
here. This guy here. He it's almost like he was doing a WWE. I'm gonna throw you off
over the
rope
fence.
instead, but there's no rope. You're going through this tree. Go sit down, little boy.
That's
you know what I mean? Like, that's so stupid, dude.
First off, it's so stupid because this man's literally throwing camps in his home city, giving back to it, and this is what you're doing? That's as dumb as it gets.
And then you're getting bodied. Like,
Now look, and good on Cam for not swinging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's still worth money.
I mean, somebody tries to jump me like that, and
I know. We heard about it last week. Lloyd told
Apparently.
us. Apparently.
apparently, I think I have 5 guys do it though. I don't even remember it.
You don't remember
that's
5
good.
guys?
Mistake of the Day is brought to you by our friends at Doe's Eat Place.
Best burger in town.
Best burger in town. If you've never been to Doe's for lunch, you're missing out. Have you ever had their burger?
Burgers, their steaks, the steak
There we
salad.
go.
Tamales.
They took the green beans out.
The people that haven't had it look at us like we're crazy. We're like, nah,
No,
you
we
don't
had
understand.
someone come in and said, I'm going to go try Doe's. Said, best burger he's ever had.
Best burger, and then he doubled down on tamales. Got an order for an appetizer and order to go.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Good move.
Great chili with
I
the
got a buddy
tamales.
of mine who orders the big steak, cuts off the piece that he wants, eats that, then takes it home, cooks it to the family's liking, and then feeds the family with it because that
Wow.
steak is so big. You've seen the massive
Yeah. Wow,
steaks. that
good
have
move.
that. So that's a very good move.
Prudent move by him.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much. so.
Saves
I'll take
money
this
in the
to
long
go.
run, I would
And then
imagine.
then you go like,
I'll
oh,
take this to go.
I picked this up. I cooked this for y'all. I got
Yeah,
it.
look how
Yeah,
good,
what I did.
Look how good my steaks
Taking
are.
all the credit.
Look how good my
Have
steaks
they
are.
figured out the move yet, or that's
I
got
think the
steak
food
night
is so- I
tonight?
think the steak is so good they don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So that was your Doe's Eat Place for this year. Leave
Doe's
Cam
Eat Place.
alone.
Doe's, yeah, just leave him alone. All right. Next segment is Curtain Calls, brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
Man,
Me? What we got today, boys?
Let's go first.
I'll lead it off.
I had a few, but I have this one. I changed this one.
I
to
give it
mine.
a little love, but it's a very Derek Jeter-esque opposite time of the year. Not the exact same base, but it's a very Derek Jeter in the Oakland Coliseum type play, which kind of for me brings you back to this is the start of baseball season, but this is Mookie Betts making a play at first as the second baseman that I like. It's called, that's a lot of
Well,
lot of mental
if you
fortitude.
don't follow baseball that closely, Mookie has been playing outfield for a long time.
Yes, yes.
It's HWA.
Yep, how to win awareness, huh?
Yep.
Um,
Roll that clip.
that's a skip move.
Oh, I
DJ,
learned
spin that shit.
I learned from the best. Let me get this thing a little bit bigger.
Okay.
A fly ball, Mike Trout.
Also,
Right field.
let's not sleep on the pitcher throwing a dime.
Oh, yeah.
That's a hard play. That's a hard play for the pitcher because he's not on the mound. Guy moving on stride, heads up play.
So Mookie went out to right to actually make a play on the ball, gets called off, doesn't make the play, sprints back behind the runner, back pick to first base with the pitcher that cut the ball off right in front of home plate. There's a lot going on there.
I respect the guy going home to give Mike Trout, or trying to go home to give Mike Trout a little cheap sack fly. Thought better of it. Guy on first base.
Sleeping.
Listen, you're getting off because you think that you got no first baseman there because the first baseman, and then all of a sudden got him.
Sleeping. Caught him.
Yep.
Caught
Great
him
play
with the
by
pants
Moot.
down. That's not where you want to be.
Nope, not at all. Lloyd, you got one?
I do have one, and mine, this might be a little bit, it was in the news in the weekend, but I'm starting to believe the opposite of what is being reported on this Wake Forest Duke court storming situation where everybody's this.
I don't really know much about it. You can explain it to me? I mean, I know what happened, but
He said he was injured.
And give them all citations or arrest them if you want to, and then court stormers would stop the next day. Like, what are we doing with the proliferation of college athletics and making it not college anymore? Like, these are all 18 to 28-year-olds that want to have a good time. And I understand that if you feel like that you're in harm's way, but don't start seeking out contact either. Like,
No,
you
I
know what's
understand.
coming with 5 seconds left.
I understand that. I also understand the hey, let's limit the court storming because it's not like it's a football field where you have a bunch of area. You also have more people, but basketball you don't have much.
Well, and then
much spot.
you've
Much
had
room.
other schools that have done it a different way where they block off the court until the players are off, the final buzzer sounds, and they open up the gates. Like,
Right.
there's ways around it other than diminishing what is one of the
Fun.
greatest traditions in college athletics.
I mean, we had the storm that stormed the court, and so I was sitting on the floor right on the corner
Oh, against Kentucky, that's right.
against Kentucky, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a fan get through
Barricade.
the guys with the blue.
Yeah.
Landmark?
Yeah, the 80-year-old man and lady that are there on that corner.
Wait.
They get past her, and there's a sheriff's officer just sitting there waiting. And that when he hit 2 steps on that court,
Arrested.
oh no, he flattened him.
Oh.
Hit his head
Oh, wow.
on the and I thought he's not getting up. Obviously, he had been partaking all day. Jumps up, runs around the basketball goal,
He was on the court anyway.
and the sheriff guy's like, "Yeah, I got my shot."
I mean, listen, he tried.
He got him.
He was determined.
He smoked him.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other fun part. I mean, all is fair in love and war. Like, if you're going to come out, then that's part of what. I just think this got flopped a little bit, is all I was saying. But I understand that those guys, like, he sticks his foot out and extends. That's a flagrant. But, like, if you're going to the court, like, you have to understand that there's other repercussions that can happen also. Like, there's a deputy that played high school football for a all-state. Like, I've been waiting for my lick
Waiting
for
for a
20
reason.
years.
Yep.
And I'm going to get you one good time. And he's like, I'm
he got
hammered.
him.
There is something nostalgic about watching it actually happen. I just don't love the way the player would get criminalized if something went bad the other way. Now, obviously, you can't LeGarrette Blount punch him, right? Like, you can't do all of that. But there's a little bit of both sides I see to it. But I kind of would not like to see it go away.
Yeah.
I just think you kind of got to have feel on the other side as a player and understanding, like, that's what just happened and kind of
And the other side of the
lightly
coin,
find your way off the court. on the
LSU
field.
cuts 100K to Kentucky basketball.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
You
like-
saw the storm court, the one win, the
What?
one guy when they won their first game.
Oh, yeah.
The one guy.
one guy, and they got fined?
No, but he was just de-storming was him.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
They had lost, like 100 games in a row.
They
and he
were
was like,
0
I've been to all of them.
He may have been the only fan left in the stands.
I'm going out of here.
Running out.
I love that. That's awesome, actually.
great.
That should have been the curtain call.
That was like 2 weeks ago.
I still should have been the curtain call.
But then, see, there's a happy medium.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, my curtain call. I had 2. But I think I'm going to give it to my second one that I just threw in there, which is, where'd it go? That's not it. That's not the one I put in there.
I have the.
Oh, that is the one I put in there.
Okay.
So
Like I
sorry.
delete him when he puts
Sorry.
them in.
Mondo Duplantis, my Lafayette brethren, is up for the World Sportsman of the Year award. Now,
not to be taken lightly.
Not to be taken lightly. He is one of the finalists, 6 finalists, with these other athletes. You may know the names. Novak Djokovic, who is going to go down as the greatest tennis player of all time. He's already surpassed everything. So he's pretty good. Noah Lyles, fastest man in the world right now in the US of A.
Until we get those steroid Olympics.
Until we get to steroid Olympics. Lionel Messi, you may know who that guy is. He's pretty solid soccer player from Argentina. Plays for
Miami.
Max Verstappen, F1 race. If you're not familiar with it, if you haven't seen the documentary on Netflix, he is one of the most successful athletes in the world.
Have you seen him drive his dad?
Unbelievable.
He's like, what did I raise? This is a monster.
Crazy. And then you got Erling Haaland, which is the guy right now in football. And then you got Mondo Duplantis. So this award may not be very well known amongst most people in America, but around the world, this is a huge thing. And to have a guy who came to LSU, a guy who's from South Louisiana, up for this, I think that's pretty awesome. So that's my curtain call. Shout out to Mondo. Just continue to rack in the awards. All right, that's all we got for you today. Please enjoy the rest of your Monday.
Could you imagine being good at, how do you even get good at pole vaulting?
Your dad's a pole
vaulter.
vaulter.
Exactly.
You do a whole lot of pole vaulting.
Into it,
Yeah. The whole family did.
If you introduced the sport to me and you're like, hey, do this, like, no.
I was scared of it.
Don't even know. How do I get where?
No, I'm not big. I'm probably too big to do pole vaulting.
Right up my alley.
Yeah, you could have done it.
Jockey.
Yeah. You may be too big for that, actually.
A little too tall for it.
Hell yeah.
That's all we got for today. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be back live Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Previewing games, talking about sports, doing the things that we do. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Rice Wednesday?
Huh?
Wednesday or Thursday?
Rice, Wednesday.
So we'll be leading you up into the game.
Yes. Potentially.
Potentially, yes.
Yes.
Please get it done.
Please like and subscribe. Thank you to Gordon, the G team. Thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you stayed the whole time. This is great.
It was a blast, man.
This is great. We'll have you on again. Ramsey got Wally pipped. We appreciate that. Rams, hope you call a lot of fish.
Yeah, take that.
Yeah, hope you call a lot of fish. Please like and subscribe if you can't watch us and you like listening to us or anywhere you get your pods. Again, enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we will see you again on Wednesday. Peace.